Welcome to this edition of Mayor's Report Dublin. I'm your host, former Assemblywoman Catharine Baker, coming to you on my cell phone in my family room during shelter in place. And we are very pleased to continue broadcasting Tri-Valley Television and especially Mayor's Report Dublin. And of course, with me today, remotely, we're very much physically distancing, is Mayor David Haubert from the city of Dublin. Are you there, Dave? How are you?
I'm here, Catherine. Thanks for having me. What a great historic event we have right now.
Yeah, it's terrific to see you. It's always good to see you, but especially when I've mostly seen the members of my family exclusively for the last 3 weeks. It's always fantastic to see you here. We're going to have for all of our viewers a great update on the details about COVID-19 in our local area, Dublin in particular, the recent changes to what services are open, which ones have been curtailed and otherwise. We'll get to that in this program. I think it'll be very useful. But we've got a very special guest today that you've helped us connect with, who is playing a key role in the Tri-Valley community remaining vibrant and together during our time of COVID-19 and physical distancing. And I wonder if you might introduce our very special guest.
Well, thank you, Catherine. Visit Tri-Valley is a wonderful partner that we have with all of the cities in the Tri-Valley, especially Dublin, and the new executive director, and not so new. She's got her feet wet, I think, and doing a great job, but fairly new. And the first time I've been able to have her as a guest, Tracy Farhad, the CEO of Visit Tri-Valley. And so glad to have you, Tracy. Please take it away, introduce yourself, and then tell us about all the great things you're doing for the Tri-Valley. Welcome aboard.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Catherine. I'm really pleased to be on camera today and on audio. It's the new normal. We've gotten really good at doing all the technology skills for the whole team. So I'm really happy to be here. I love being in the Tri-Valley now, although I have to admit I didn't think within the first 30 days that we would just be dealing with the crisis. But you have to be nimble in this industry.
And you're new.
And I'm very new.
You're new, right? You're our new CEO and president of Visit Tri-Valley. When did you come on board, and what attracted you to the Tri-Valley to begin with?
Well, I actually started in January after Barbara retired. She'd been with the business and did an outstanding job. And of course, one of the great attractions to the business itself was she created a wonderful team, a team of professionals that I was excited to be a part of. But I hailed from San Ynez Valley, another little wine country down Southern California, and spent about 20 years working in the tourism industry and tourism promotion down south. But my husband and I have been trying to get back up north for quite some time. We actually got married in Lake Tahoe, so you're a heck of a lot closer. So that's a good thing. I've got I like the proximity, so that's been good. But there's been so many things that have actually attracted me to the Tri-Valley. And right off the bat, it was the open spaces. I happen to love hiking. My son's an avid cyclist. So that was a big draw. And then, of course, the diversity. I'm really drawn to both the cultural and the people diversity of the communities.
Super. Well, these aren't normal times, as we all know, but and we'll get a little bit to what Visit Tri-Valley and you in particular are doing to adapt to our current circumstances. But in normal times, can you say a little bit about what does Visit Tri-Valley do specifically and what's its relevance to Tri-Valley residents?
Yeah, that's a good question. One of the other things that I really liked was the opportunity to be part of a regional experience. And with the Tri-Valley, so many residents, communities, but it still felt like a lot of small towns. And that has been something that's been important, is being able to show off that local, real California small town appeal. And that also appealed to us. But it's working with residents, it's working with businesses. But that new normal, a key factor to the success of any destination marketing organization is you have to stay nimble, you have to be flexible, and be able to answer to economic trends, to economic things, to trends that come up, and even these crises. So, well, first and foremost, we're actually a marketing organization, so we're your key cheerleader from our farthest afield. We put into place marketing programs, public relations, feel-good stories. We do direct sales. We also do anything that will help us attract the visitor to come and spend their money and stay as long as possible. So that's what we do for both leisure and business travel.
Yeah, and you're more than a tourism bureau and a cheerleader for us, because you also have some great campaigns. I know you've had the beer crawl and the ice cream crawl. Certainly, we have wonderful wine country and shopping and dining all throughout our Tri-Valley area. You've got great and fun campaigns. I'm sure they're on your website for how folks can participate in those under normal circumstances. Is that right?
Yes, well, hopefully we won't be crawling to them anytime soon between one
Yeah,
and the other.
right.
But we do love our trailblazer activities. It's been a great way for us to umbrella what is unique around the Tri-Valley communities. And so that ice cream trail, the caffeine trail, the wine and beer. In fact, we're pretty excited about what's getting ready to launch. This gives us a little time to get all of our ducks in a row, which is taking all of our trails on digital platform. So you'll soon have a value pass opportunity for both locals and visitors, where they could actually go between the different businesses, between the different communities. It helps them discover what makes each one unique. So those trails are pretty exciting. But we
Yeah,
also do
great.
that a lot through traditional marketing and digital marketing. We have a lot of social media channels and working hard on that. One of the greatest new campaigns that we have coming up is voice command. So it's exciting to talk to you both today on voice.
Yeah.
We have bought the rights to Amazon's Alexa for the destination. So the Tri-Valley, Visit Tri-Valley has uploaded over 1,200 skills to the Alexa. So soon we hope to have that all locally, and you'll be able to ask, what's your favorite restaurant in Dublin? And I'm sure, Mayor, you'll have to put your favorite up there on our Alexa channel.
I can't wait. I can't wait, Tracy. One other thing that you do, which I think is great, is put us on the map globally. And I know that you've made relationships with other countries. And I also know that in addition to wine country and the beer crawl and the ice cream crawl, you also market tournaments and help us promote our region for
Yes.
soccer tournaments, softball tournaments, whatever it might be. These are especially helpful for Dublin, where we have hotels and we have sport fields. And thank you for getting the word out on that. Maybe you can say a little bit about our global reach and how you also promote sports.
You know, sports tourism is very key to the Tri-Valley. There are amazing, great fields. I remember my son had done soccer. He does some baseball. He's now cycling. But I remember driving through and seeing the first fields in the area and going, wow, we've got some great venues here. And we have a sales manager who just focuses on those sports attractions, getting the worldwide baseball tournaments to come here, the softball, and that bring in people from all different countries. And again, those who come internationally, they happen to stay longer and spend more money. And it's such a sustainable green way for us to add to our communities, to our cities. In fact, we have representation in China. They have been in solidarity with us, and we've been talking back and forth extensively. And in fact, when they heard the stories about how we were really hurting in not having enough masks and protective masks, they actually took some of their own stockpile and they put it in the mail, and I have a box waiting for me at my office. So now I got to get somebody to drive there and pick up these masks. But that's how much we're working together to keep this message on a very global scene.
Well, that's wonderful to have those relationships and to see that kind of friendship across borders at a time like this, for sure. It's a great segue into what the Visit Tri-Valley has done to kind of retool during COVID-19 and the shelter at home times. I believe I've seen Takeout Tri-Valley or Tri-Valley to Go. Can you say a little bit about that campaign and how you are promoting it to support our local businesses as we go through this time?
Yes, one of the first things we realized is that marketing had to switch to local focus right away. And it's kind of a three-pronged approach. So, and first and foremost, the local community was the most important. So we started Tri-Valley to Go to mention all the restaurants and the businesses that were open and safe, that you could get meals, and to also help support those local businesses, because without them, we don't have a Tri-Valley to promote. So Tri-Valley to Go, we've had 100 submissions of businesses that are saying saying we're available and open. We also added what's called our third bedroom campaign to try to keep some occupancy in the hotels, to let folks know if they didn't have enough room, here were hotels that were still open. So we'll let you know about that. We've really been working socially with Tri-Valley Strong, and on our website, visit trivalley.com. But equally important to all that was updating our industry colleagues with all the latest, how to handle the SBA loans, what the CARES Act means to them. So we've been putting out twice weekly crisis alerts, newsletters. We have a call-in for the community tomorrow morning. In fact, we will have Caroline Bettetta, the CEO of Visit California, on our call tomorrow morning. So we're excited to have her there.
Fantastic. Well, two more quick questions for you. If there's a business in the Tri-Valley area that would like to participate and receive your notifications and be promoted as part of this, how can they do that? And maybe you could also talk about, just real quick, shortly before we go to break, how you're funded. So that, is it a dues membership or otherwise? Say a little bit about those two, please.
Yeah, sure. First of all, you're not paying us, you're fine. No membership, which is great. It's actually all the visitors who come to stay in the hotel rooms. Every time they stay in the hotel room, they have an assessment fee, and that goes to support the marketing services for the Tri-Valley. So it's a great circle of supply and demand. And of course, we're motivated by having more people spend the night. But how you can reach us at any time is visit trivalley.com, and you can also email us. And there's a form on Visit Tri-Valley. If you go on the information page, there's a form you can fill out that submits straight away to our team. And you could also email us info@visittrivalley.com, and we'll get that up as soon as possible. Thanks for keeping them coming.
You got it. A fantastic work that you do under normal circumstances, and just one of the additional critical supports for our Tri-Valley economy and our businesses and the families that are employed by them and own them, and our patrons of them. So thank you for that great work. It's been wonderful to have you join Visit Tri-Valley. We get to see you a lot at the events when we're out and about, but we're really grateful Mayor Haubert brought you today. So I think Mayor...
Yeah, I just wanted to let you know that when people are ready to free to roam once again and truly welcome the visitors, that Visit Tri-Valley will be ready, and we've got your back. Thanks.
Thank you so much for being here.
Fantastic. We wish you and everyone at Visit Tri-Valley well, and everyone in your life. We're going to take a short break now. We'll be right back on this edition of Mayor's Report Dublin. Welcome back to this Dublin edition of Mayor's Report. We're here again with Mayor David Haubert. We're remotely. I'm in my living room, and Mayor Haubert, I'm not sure what room you're in, but we're together, which is good to do, and it's good to see you again.
Thanks, Catherine. I am actually at City Hall, my office, but I am generally at home 24 hours a day. I came in just for this. I'm excited to be here. I'm glad that technology is our friend today. Thanks for having me.
You got it. Well, of course, COVID-19 continues to be a primary issue in our lives these days, and how we're adapting to it. And since our last Mayor's Report, there have been some changes. Of course, Alameda County, which with the other Bay Area counties, issues the health orders and directives. They're not just suggestions or guidelines. They're actually directives that I know the local cities have to comply with. Just a few days ago, revised its directives, extended the shelter in place until May 3rd, and even narrowed it a bit. That's one of the updates that I'm sure is affecting Dublin. What can you tell us about other updates for the city of Dublin related to the revised guidelines and what services remain open?
Well, that's right, Catherine. I want everybody to know that we at City Hall understand our number one job is to keep the community safe, and that's what we're doing. And we have a lot of people hard at work to ensure that. We are asking everybody to obey the orders, to stay at home as much as possible, to social distance when you do go out for essentials like food, and to obey all of the rules of the executive order. And indeed, this last week came out a newer set of guidelines, a stricter set of guidelines. At this point, all of the city facilities are closed. We do have a skeleton crew of people at City Hall answering the phones, making sure that the things that need to happen are happening. And indeed, those folks are essential. And so they are a skeleton crew at City Hall. In addition, we have deployed some of our parks and community services staff to help check in on our seniors, delivering meals and volunteering as they instead of sheltering at home, they're volunteering. The rest of the city staff is indeed working from home. So great job to our IT team to make sure that they were able to do that. Everybody's able to communicate via email, via phone. We're doing a great job with that. In addition, we have our police services working 24 hours a day around the clock, as they always do, but now even on heightened alert, to make sure that everything is still safe while people are at home, to make sure that people are obeying the rules and the new rules. And let me highlight some of them. Indeed, they have asked that we close down any facilities that would encourage congregation. So tennis courts, basketball courts, there are now bars around the skateboard park, no skateboarding. You are allowed to go out for fresh air and take a jog and walk around the park. But when you do so, it needs to be with family members only and or by yourself and not in large groups. And so we've tightened up on that. Indeed, they've also described certain businesses as essential. So they've identified, for example, notaries and real estate transaction services, things that keep the economy moving, very important. New guidelines have come out around funerals. Of course, funeral is a very delicate time in anyone's life. If you have to perform or attend a funeral, that's fine. No more than 10 people. I understand that even businesses are now required, if they are essential, to post that they are essential and to have posted a plan for keeping their facilities clean. Things like that are now on the list of the executive order that we must comply with.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. And going to what city services remain possible, the Alameda County order changed the definition of essential business and found that if you're not an essential business, that you need to actually be closed as opposed to not. And that if you are going to be looking for, say, a development permit or a development approval or any other kind of permits and otherwise, is the city of Dublin only providing those services for essential development and essential services? I guess I'm asking because I know that the Alameda County order says the only housing construction that can continue is housing construction that's for at least 10% affordable housing and to support essential services provided to seniors and those in needs. Other housing construction is supposed to stop unless it's to wind down those operations. So, for example, if someone wants to come to the city and get approval for any kind of work, maybe you're going to remodel your house or you're in the process of looking for a development application, how is the city services available to those types of needs right now?
Well, I'm happy to say that, again, with technology, anyone is able to process approvals and get permits ready to go through the email. However, our walk-up counter and in-person dialogue is closed. And so all of businesses can proceed through email. But as you pointed out, none of the construction can occur unless they're under one of those descriptions, which I think for the most part has indeed shut down most of the construction here in Dublin and around the Bay Area.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned that city staff are doing a lot of terrific volunteer work and helping care for others. And in the last edition of Mayor's Report, the staff that were not coming into the office at the city offices every day were actually helping with Meals on Wheels. And have you been a part of that as well? What more can you tell us about those type of services? And I think you have some pictures you can show us as well.
That's right, Catherine. I took some personal time and volunteered to deliver meals to seniors in Dublin. It was a great experience for me. And I've always supported the Spectrum Company Meals on Wheels program. and the city of Dublin is proud to do that. I was able to visit many homes here in the Dublin area, but also thank our team at City Hall for doing their part to help out the community. They're a great program. Dublin has always been supportive and always will, even now more so in these times. But I can tell you it's a little bit different, where we would often have a in-person dialogue up close with a senior. We now are putting the meal down on a chair or a bench near the front door, stepping back, allowing the senior to open the door, retrieve the meal, and rather than shake hands or get too close, it's more of a distance, but still keeping 6 feet apart, having a small conversation. For many seniors, it's the only person they might see that day. And so even just to say hi to somebody or to talk about what's going on from a distance, a safe distance, is a wonderful thing. And we're happy to do it and glad that I was able to participate.
Well, those services still continue for our seniors in need, and it is a great opportunity to do that. Of course, you have to be fingerprinted and background checked to do it. And the city staff have already been through that process. They've been a wonderful part of doing that. I want to shift gears a little bit. You know, we've seen some federal legislation passed. We've seen some state legislation passed. Can you say a little bit about how those bills during this time, and I doubt they're the last ones that we'll see, are affecting the city of Dublin and the services here? Is there funding for Dublin, or what other provisions might be of help to Dublin that we can be aware of?
Well, certainly the Federal CARES Act has passed. We are going to be reviewing that carefully, not only to take an understanding of how it might affect us individually as a city, but to share that information with the businesses that have been hurt here in Dublin, and to share that with our Chamber of Commerce and to work with our economic development team, who is wonderful at engaging with the business community. And so we will be combing through that, finding the things that we can most take advantage of and participate in, and sharing that with those. I want to also say that Alameda County has done its part by putting in place an opportunity to waive the April 10 property tax due date, penalties rather. The due date still stands, but if you can't pay, there is, for the first time ever, a waiver process that the Alameda County tax collector has put in place.
Some of our neighboring Tri-Valley cities have passed their own moratorium on residential evictions as well as commercial evictions, and we're hoping that doesn't come down that line. And that brings a question of if there are any other meetings that the city council is having. Of course, our school board has some remote meetings that they've recently done. What can Dublin residents expect the city council might be doing in terms of any remote meetings, and if they will pass measures like that?
Well, we are going to have a meeting on April 7th. It will be telephonic, and so everyone can tune into that. We are always accessible on email and social media. I also want to say that we are remaining Dublin strong. We will get through this together. I would like to really call out and support our local businesses who remain open. I want to say be safe, and I want to also share briefly that when I wear a mask, it has a shamrock on it. And so thank my wife for putting that together for me. And I also want to say our community is great. All of us making masks at home and donating them to people in need. And lastly, I want to say that Dublin remains united against hatred of any kind, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, pandemic or not. Dublin stands united against hate. We have seen across the Bay Area an uptick in xenophobia and discrimination against Asian Americans, Chinese Americans. My friends at the Chinese consulate are concerned that some people refer to the virus as the Wuhan virus or the Chinese virus. I know that sometimes we call out the Spanish flu and things like that, but now is not the time to start calling this the Chinese virus. It just incites racial hatred, and we do not stand for that. We will not tolerate that here in Dublin. If we see it, we will prosecute it, and we stand to protect our Chinese American community as one of our own, and that is pandemic or not, but bears repeating and mentioning right now to make sure it doesn't happen.
I'm glad you did, because we are so much stronger and we get through things better together under all circumstances. And well, I want to thank you for being here and giving us a great update today, Mayor Haubert. I also want to say ching ching. I've got my Dublin mug here at home. And I just want to say cheers to you and all of our Dublin community. Thank you for your leadership and the work that you're doing. We really appreciate the update. And thank you for joining us on this edition of Mayor's Report, Dublin. I'm your host, former Assemblywoman Catharine Baker. Join us for other Mayor's Reports coming up right here on Tri-Valley TV. Again, thank you for joining us for this update, and be well, stay healthy and safe.